What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a title called DRAGONKIN, which the developers fired over a preview demo a couple days ago. This appears to be an action RPG with some pretty slick visuals. It's got a cold open, so the timing took some work, but if you wanted to check this out, I got a link for you down below. Let's cinematic it up.
At the beginning of time, the Eternal One gave life to powerful beings of light to help him in his task, the Drachiels. Unfortunately, the power invested in these creatures only inspired them with excessive pride and an unquenchable thirst for domination. Discovering that they had been betrayed, the Eternal One banished them to the depths of the abyss, to the Dracomonde. It was there, in the bowels of the earth, that they were transformed into the monstrosities known as dragons. Alas, more than ever possessed by hatred and vanity, the banished refused to admit defeat. With their voices, they strove to corrupt humanity, with their blood to stain the earth that bore it. From then on, men lived in fear. That one of the Dragon Lords, the most powerful of the banished, would one day return to the surface. Supported by his Dragonkins, Tsar Iknog managed to escape from his underground prison. Guided by the light, the brave men swore to repel him. Soldiers of the Order, virtuous and loyal to the Lord, who suffered in their souls and in their flesh at the hands of draconic corruption. On the outskirts of this gaping chasm, there were few who could remain deaf to the perverse voices of the dragons. Godefroy de Clerval, Auspex of the Order of the Eternal, was one of them.
My belt appears to be doing a little bit of flappy action right there. Also, the voice lines, they didn't line up with the subtitles down there. They said completely different things. But this is the game. Let's check it out. We're going to be playing it for the next 30 minutes or so. Sorry for the weird, awkward opening. I couldn't figure out a way to get it done without... I needed you guys to see the exposition.
The voice of the Dragon Lord poisoned minds and petrified bodies. It instilled fear and madness. Never before had such a vast rift opened up between worlds.
Did I mention that my spear is a flamethrower? I think that that's a crowd pleaser right there. Who doesn't love a spear that's a flamethrower? If I saw that when I was down at, like, I don't know, dude, where would you even buy something like that? Like down at the Home Depot, a flamethrower spear? I would buy that in a heartbeat. You would too, don't lie. You would buy the flamethrower spear. You'd be like, can I get that on layaway or whatever else? Like, I just know that I need to have a flamethrower spear. So it looks like we have a couple of abilities we can play around with. Our left click is the standard Diablo-style auto attack, so we can just stab stuff with that. Oh, the environmental effects are blowing up random rocks.
Spirits gave in to these temptations without putting up any resistance. Obeying the commands of their new masters, they drank dragon's blood and gave themselves over to perversity. Thus enslaved, they were transformed into repulsive creatures known as Dragonkins.
This game started me off strong because the first build that I go for in any Diablo-style game is always whatever the beam cannon or the flamethrower build is. I can't help it. I'm naturally attracted towards both of those things. There's something deeply satisfying about just sitting there holding down right-click and watching the entire world die. It's just very, very satisfying and fun. Can't explain it. I'm gonna stab you a little bit, but you hurt. I'm gonna drink a potion real quick. What other abilities do I have? Looks like I've got a charge or something right there. Uh-oh. Okay, I thought that rift in the ground was gonna turn into a bigger problem than it actually ended up being. So far, the gameplay feels pretty smooth, though. It feels alright. When they were showing the level of graphical fidelity that the game was playing around with, the lighting effects, the reflective effects, all that kind of stuff, the particles, I was sort of expecting this to be a chuggy boy. Action RPGs almost never live up to the AAA examples that exist out there in the world. We're talking the Grim Dawns, we're talking the Diablos, we're talking the Path of Exiles, and so this actually feels pretty good right now.
Children and animals, slaves devoted to their cruel masters, grotesque-looking monsters blindly obeying the Dragon Lord.
Okay, so I've got like a big swipey attack on my 2. What does 3 do? Looks like 3 is like a shield bash that throws out a bunch of little shields. So Valiant Charge, we've got Flamethrower, we've got Stab, and we've got Show of Force. Okay, so we kind of want to like Flamethrower, and then when they get to me and they sort of like surround me, that's when we want to do our big wide range attack right there with the setup on it. See, now I'm sort of curious what the progression's going to look like inside of this game, because the progression, the sphere grid, the rune words, and all that kind of stuff are a big part of what make games like this appealing. Get him with a shield right there. Get him with a big slashy boy. I need to like play around with my charge and get used to using that too. How far can the charge go? I'm having trouble telling. It says that it's working right there. Dash forward with the shield, grant bonus movement speed. Do I have to have an enemy selected for it to work right? Or do I have to hold it? Oh, I have to hold it. It's channeled. Okay, so it's just like a straight up charge that goes through the enemy lines. Cool. All right. Now I know. So we can charge in, and then we can do one of the... Yeah, okay. I'm starting to see the synergies that we're playing around with. Ah! Yeah. Perfect. I'm going to do it again to this group.
Only the most virtuous souls, supported by the Eternal, knew how to resist the corrupting call that led the living to perdition.
Only the most virtuous of souls. Those that put the cart back at the supermarket inside the cart corral after they finished loading their groceries. All who failed became dragons. Not much of an incentive to put your cart back, though. I'd love to become a dragon. Just dunkles on it up, sit around being all dope and dragony. I'd be arrogant, though, if I was a dragon, dude. I don't think anybody would like me. If I was a dragon, I'd be a gnarly, arrogant bastard.
And the light of men was already no more than a dying flame in the depths of darkness. And it was said that it would not be extinguished.
Okay. Get out of my way. Beep, beep. I'm a little bit shocked that fire is what kills dragons here. Typically, dragons are associated with being immune to those sorts of shenanigans. But then again, maybe my flamethrower is just built different. You know, maybe it's got some of that, like, Northrop Grumman magic on it.
Of this last hope, some brave souls formed an alliance and prepared to swoop in at the first breach in the draconic defenses. The power of the Dragonkins was strong in these parts. It merged our world with that of the Banished.
In his butthole, though, bro? Was that necessary? You could have stabbed him anywhere.
With a heroic breakthrough, Godefroy de Clerval shattered their occult shield. This act of bravery, a feat of the Alliance of Just Men, allowed me to lend a hand to the soldiers of the Order of the Eternal. I, Almantea, great oracle of Pithoderkon, a dragon blood, a human altered by the draconic blood that ran through my veins. Although we hadn't surrendered our souls to the Banished Lords, my sisters and I had powers that were unique to dragons.
So we're doing like a little preview of all the characters right here. Okay, I see what's happening. So on our left click, we've got ethereal darts. We've got electric wave right there. We've got an arcane portal. We've also got Thunder's Call, a giant electric explosion. Okay, so it's like an arcane burst. Gotcha. And then call down lightning in a ranged area. Let's see what that does. Okay, I can live with it. So it's going to be each of us is kind of like taking down our mark, right? Okay.
Neither Dragonkins nor totally human, we had received these extraordinary abilities from our ancestors.
So it's kind of like a Power Rangers type situation. Oh, I got no mana left. How do I get my manas back? I gotta get some manas back. This girl drinks mana, dude. She goes through it quick. Her auto attack is just an AoE that showers the enemy with magic missiles? I dig it. She's also got an energy shield on her health right there. All right, well, mana's back, so let's get back to the punishing.
They had drunk the blood of the only banished dragon to have repented before the Eternal to this day.
Cool. Definitely going to have to get used to holding down shift to just auto-attack in place with this character, since what she's doing is sort of like a circle flamethrower around herself. Not very strong, though. Her auto-attack definitely not as tough as the other guy's auto-attack. But then again, she's spreading a lot of damage around, too. I'm going to throw some lightning bolts back there just in case. Teleport up here. Maybe detonate a little bit. Blow out one of those. Sure, just give you one of those, too. I'm just going to run into the middle of them and do my AoE each time. It's a little mana intensive, but I figure we can make it work.
These few drops of draconic blood linked us to the dragons through our thoughts.
Okay, there's going to be a learning curve with her. I can tell already. Does she have a tail?
Visions,
No, that's not a tail. That's like a tacet or something. Do I have a mini-map? I know it's pretty linear right now, but it just feels weird playing an action RPG without having a mini-map on screen somewhere. It makes me feel ill at ease for some reason. Is this gonna open up for me at some point? Oh, it opened up. There we go. Now we're ready to rock. Let's give him one of those, dude. That seems to be my universal problem solver on this character. Like, we could play around with the other abilities, but let's be honest here. We're all going to stack mana and mana regen until we can just spam that ability right there. That's exactly what we're all going to do. Nobody's going to play this character except to go boom like that over and over and over again. I think that, like, gives mana back or something. So I think it's builder-spender gameplay. No, it's regenerating on its own. But it does look like you get a little bit from using your left-click attack. Oh, hey, what's up? You wanted me to be over here, huh? You will regret that.
But the fearsome bond that united us to the dragons had also made us awakened beings. We lived in the certainty that the Eternal One had granted forgiveness to our draconic past.
Dragon slaying time. There's a lot of dragons around. There are many different varieties of dragons. Just give me my mana back real quick, and then I'll blow you all up. Boom, boom. Bye-bye. I would like to be on the other side of this gate right here. That is what would please me the mostest. There we go. I had to activate it. Give me some mana back. We do have a dodge button that makes us do like a little blink slide, so I'm guessing that's going to turn into something awesome later on. Drop the big lightning on this dude.
Among the men of the city of the Order of the Eternal, despite the fear we inspired in them.
Okay. Cool. I honestly think that this is a really, really good setup for showing characters what endgame gameplay is going to look like on the characters that exist inside your game. You're going from the bottom of the UI right now. It looks like we're about level 50, which I'm guessing is the level cap for this game as you're going through and doing the campaign or whatever else before you start doing endgame activities and start farming loot. And I don't necessarily think that this is the worst idea, that the intro/prologue of your game shows what high-level gameplay looks like and allows you to fool around with it for a minute before you begin your grind.
Godefroy, fighting fire with fire, confronted the draconic hordes. I was fighting alongside him, but my strategy was quite different. Thanks to my draconic power, I opened a passageway where the men of Neurogard could enter, all ready to make the ultimate sacrifice to save what was left of humanity. Once this occult barrier had been broken, they knew their lives were hanging by a thread. These warriors from the cold didn't care, because in their eyes there was no greater honor than falling to the enemy. Commanded by Harold Trulson, the White Dragonblood, the barbarian fleet had a single objective: to lure the enemy out to sea so as to leave the area around Sour Iknog's rift clear. If just one ship reached the coast, this sacrifice would not have been made in vain. Harold Trulson would land in hostile territory and avenge the deaths of Toriel's clan.
All right, let's see what this guy has going on. Let's see how he trucks, because this guy, all right, I could do some barbarian gameplay. So this guy right here, he's got Steel Sweep, so it's a cone forward. He's got Wild Whirlwind, which is spin to win, dude. You can't have a barbarian inside of an action RPG without spin to win. It's a crowd classic that everybody's going to demand no matter what. Our other ability is Frost Wings. Okay, so that's going to be a leap slam, just like in Diablo. And then we've got Survival Surge, which heals me. And we've got Resonating Blast. Okay.
Soul. While the Knights of the Order of the Eternal had always forbidden themselves from using dragon blood, the warriors of the North, true to their values, had run the risk.
I'm just going to spin to win my way through this, dude. It feels like the most effective strategy, with the occasional jump in there, but there is a fluidity to it that is lacking. Like, every single action RPG has some kind of spin to win, and it has some kind of, like, leap slam barbarian. But in this case, the way that the abilities transition in between one another feels pretty good. Like, it doesn't feel like there's too many of those jarring little stopgaps in between ability casts.
At the cost of ultimate pain. In exchange, he had received draconic powers, which he had put to use in the service of his clan, Toriel, the Eternal, and humanity.
Got him. Let's get that group right there. There we go. That was the stuff I was looking for. How big is this slam that I have right here? Like, how gnarly is this going to be? I mean, it's not as cinematic as all the other abilities they gave me access to, though. And me, I have a strong respect for cinematography and setting up awesome shots. Do I want to go this way? I do want to go this way. So is this like big single target damage? I mean, yeah, big single target damage. All right, that's what that's for. That's not for getting rid of mob mulching or getting rid of huge hordes of mobs. Like, it's not for horde clear. It's for two-shotting big boss mobs. I can live with that. Carry on through.
And although everyone, from Montesquieu to Neurogard, recognized the courage and self-sacrifice shown by these warriors, there was not one who did not regard them with the utmost disgust. No one doubted their loyalty to Toriel, defender of the Eternal, but their bodies, soiled by the dragon, were rejected by men.
I don't know who I want to play. I'm not crazy sure which character I want to play right now. I like all three in their own unique way, and that's good, because usually with action RPGs, there tend to be like one or two classes that I flatly write off the second that I see them, and I never play them.
Had achieved his goal. The Alliance's plan, so unlikely to succeed, could go ahead. The barbarian waited for the green signal, the one that would indicate where to strike to break through the enemy defenses and draw the dragons away from the breach. As proud and impassive as the warriors of the north, the nomads of Kongirat who had come from the moors beyond the horizon had joined the alliance of men to repel Saur Iknog, the red dragon. Riding their draconic hybrids, these trackers archers faced the dragons without trembling or faltering. These hunters would never let the enemy turn them into prey. Skin, wings, teeth, blood. For them, every draconic monstrosity was a threat, but also a game offering precious resources. And while other peoples had resisted by praying to the divine light, these nomads exploited everything the land and Providence offered them to survive.
All right, what does this guy do? So we've got Bouncing Arrow. It seeks an enemy twice, generates energy. We've got Expeditive Shot. I didn't know that expeditive was a word. Wouldn't it just be expedited? Huh, I'm gonna have to Google that after this. Execution Clause. Slash in front of you twice, dealing toxic damage. Okay, so we've got like a rain of arrows. We've got a slash.
The great tracker Eula did not see things their way. Of all her traveling people, she was the first to recognize the value of this eternal light. She rejected neither the ancestral traditions nor the hunt for dragonkins that had enabled the Kongirat to excel in the fields of potions, alchemy, poisons, and draconic hybridization. Or even the meditation which for a moment allowed her people to escape the voices of the dragons. However, she knew what the celestial light could bring to her people.
Okay, so she's a little speedier, but she doesn't have a lot of pass-through abilities that let her move through enemy mobs compared to the barbarian. But it looks like we've got the standard fare stuff here. We've got like a rain of arrows, we've got a multi-shot. Nothing too shocking on this character, much like the barbarian. It looks like they're going with industry standards for the ways those are going to be arranged.
Able to travel freely if corruption poisoned the entire known world. This draconic taint would transform everything, animals, plants, land. It would shatter the harmony necessary for the survival of her tribe.
I'm about to show these bosses my demonic taint. Draconic taint? Whatever kind of taint, really. It's all about the disrespect. Got that. The slash is pretty cool, too. Okay, maybe I should use the slash a little bit more while I've got the enemy slowed down.
This is why she had joined the Alliance of Men.
Okay. Yeah, sure. She can join for whatever reason she wants. Frankly, I'm not in any position to argue with somebody that can fire 950,000 arrows per second. Can I put one of those down yet? I cannot. I need to put one of those down. There we go. That would solve a lot of problems for me right now. Dash out of it. Put a little bit of that old smoke on him. She's a little bit more difficult to target with, I think, because her abilities are much less channeled than everybody else's.
To seal this union, the Order of the Eternal had entrusted her with one of its most powerful relics, the Scale of Light. According to legend, this scale once belonged to one of the Drakiels. It was lost in battle when these beings of light repelled the banished dragon lords who had got too close to the surface. Each champion possessed one, and the power of their combined lights was to cast Saur Iknog into darkness. Armed with her Scale of Light, it was up to Eula to launch the invocation. She would then know if she had made a mistake in trusting the Order and joining the Alliance. The power of the light was unrivaled. We heard the Dragon Lord screaming in our heads, drunk with rage and pain. So close to the Draco world, our souls suffered 1,000 deaths, but none of us retreated. Repelling corruption, the divine light sealed the breach. And so it was that Sour Ichnog the Banished disappeared into the darkness to serve his eternal punishment. When calm returned, we were the only ones left to witness the feat accomplished by the alliance of men. But more aware than ever that draconic evil remained present deep in the abyss, impatient to break free once more. And so, it was from the union of men and their newfound fraternity in the face of the draconic threat that an elite corps was born within the Order of the Eternal, the Dragon Hunter Squad.
We made it to the title screen, dude. That's better than I do in 90% of videos. I feel accomplished right now. So at this point, we get to pick a character. Lothair of Mondragon, Electrain, or Rurik Haraldson. I really liked these two, so I'll probably go with him. I mean, the flamethrower, man, I told you, I naturally gravitate towards it. I can't help myself. So here we are in town, and it says that for the purposes of this demo, we can play around with one of the endgame activities, which is called Dungeon Purification, and that's all that there is for the moment. Let's take a look through some menus and stuff, though, and kind of see what we've got around when it comes to, like, character custom. Oh, I like the camera work right there. How does my little baby dragon guy tie into all this? Well, I can tell you right now, just from running through town, this is a gorgeous game. Somebody really put some work into here, although one thing I did notice, this is going to irk some people, the clipping of clothing when characters are moving around, that's got to be tightened up. People don't like it when their tassets and their capes and all that kind of stuff are glitching out through their character's body or whatever else. It's a big task to get done with the physics system, but you just got to do it. Oh, it's got a unified menu where you can just teleport around town and go to the place that you want to go to. So you can wander the town on foot if you want, but you can also just teleport to the vendor that you're looking for. Sick, dude. You're about to launch an endgame activity, Dungeon Purification. Okay. Let's do the Dungeon Purification and kind of see how that works out for us. I'd like to get a level up and see what the progression mechanics look like before we end the video. That way everybody can be appraised. This game's actually coming out fairly shortly, too. I think it comes out in March. Yeah, you guys can just get Flamethrower for right now. That's what you guys get. And then I'm just going to charge through the rest of you. Oh, look at that, dude. There's little holy light balls coming out of my butt while I run around. Sick, dude. Would you guys like to get... Here, just get Okay, these guys are tougher then. Mud Brutes. Oh, they explodinate. Oh, we got our first piece of loot. Muriel's Shield. And then we've got a Venomous Pouch and some other stuff over there. So, that's going to take us to our inventory menu. Does our gear show up on our character? It does. So if I take off the gloves, he actually loses the gloves. Sick. Okay, good. That's what I was hoping to see. We have an ancestral grid over here. So to me, it looks like how the skill progression system works. I played around with it for like 5 or 6 minutes. It looks like either through fighting enemies or leveling up, you get access to these little shards, and they have little bits and pieces on their hexes that determine what happens. So right here we have our auto attack quick strike, and it's attached to a double attack, which means that it has a chance to strike twice, but damage will be lowered. And then on the other side, it's got Shockwave, which gives it a chance to trigger a Shockwave of physical damage. Right here, we've got our Valiant Charge. It's got energy gain. So whenever I hit somebody with Valiant Charge, I get mana back. And then over here, it also reduces the casting cost. Is there a way to separate these down into, like, bare bones units so that I can have that little piece and attach it to something else? Curious. So I've got my flamethrower back in there, and it looks like these sort of inherit the bonuses from anything that they're next to, because it lights up when you mouse over the individual hexes here. So I'm guessing that my flamethrower now has a little bit... Yeah, it does. You can see it on the tooltip right there on the left. Cool. So you really sort of want to center grid the main ability that you're planning on being your spammer out here, and then just surround it with as many modifiers that have synergies as you possibly can. And then these are level capped right here, so you get more grid space the higher level you are. Some of them are X'd out, and I don't know exactly why, but it appears to be part of the pet gameplay too, because when they were explaining it inside there was like a little pop-up tutorial that I read through that sort of explained the basics, but it said that we've got some kind of accumulation going on, where as we take damage, our Wyrmling charges up, and then it turns us into basically like Super Saiyan mode, basically. Alright, well, I played around with my grid long enough. We've also got attributes over here, so it looks like we get to assign something on this side. Yeah, so it looks like you get attribute points that you get to apply to different trees for your attributes, and as you go through, it's going to specialize your character, and you get to pick perks. So they've got us maxed out on what is courage, I guess. We've got unwavering hope, so we got block chance and incoming healing when your health is too low. Armor when health is low. I'm going to go with the first one right there. Okay, let's get back on the road and let's clear this dungeon on out and see if we can put a little bit of blood on our sword, you know what I mean? Oh no, my abilities are all over the place. They're on the wrong... Oh no, it moved them around on me. Just flamethrower, dude. Flamethrower our way out of this for a second, and then we'll figure out the rest momentarily. Yeah, maybe dodge out of that right there. Ow. Okay. I do not like flamethrower being on my one key. That is not ideal. Why is my flamethrower stopping? I have other questions here. I'm going to charge back through. Let's do it. You want some? I got some for you if you want some. I got a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Can I move these around from right here? Okay, I think I'm arranged the way I want to be. Let's launch one of those bad boys right there. Oh my god, they dealt so much damage. I was not expecting that to hurt that much. I don't know if that's like a mana-triggered ability or what. He keeps stopping doing it, though. Oh, maybe it's powered by my Drake. There's a second meter over there. That seems like it may indeed be the case. Okay, flamethrowered him down. Ooh, these guys are chunky. Oh, my God. Okay, I got liquefied. So I figured what we'll do now is we'll take the Barbarian for a spin because I think I messed up the other guy's skill tree just fiddling with it. You know that feeling when you're playing an MMO and you quit for like 5 years and then you come back to your character, or any open world RPG video game really, and then you come back years later and then all of a sudden you don't know what's going on, you've messed things up. Basically, I have the mind and the experience of a noob, but they've given me a mid-game character that you're supposed to have been building sort of incrementally along the way, and unfortunately, that's not working out. Give the dragon a little bit more of that. Yeah, get him with a jump. Get a little bit of whooping on you. From what I've seen so far, this is actually really, really smooth. It performs super well. The abilities have nice animation breaks built into them so that it feels natural as you're transitioning in between all of your casts. I think what's important to remember here, though, is just that with an action RPG, it is the sum total of all of its parts, so the campaign, the storyline, what varieties of endgame are there, horde clear, rifting, bossing, all that kind of stuff. We also don't know what loot tables look like just yet. We don't know what crafting looks like and whether or not it's deterministic. And so I am pleasantly pleased by this title, but I think we're lacking the context of a level up just yet to make an ultimate call. Still, I've really enjoyed my time with it. I dig the sort of Dragonkin Power Rangers thing that they're playing around with here, and I'm interested in playing it more. I don't think I've ever met an action RPG that I didn't like. And so anyways, they'll have this going up in March to be checked on out. I can't wait to get further on into it and see if all the parts fit together in the ways that I hope that they will. But for right now, I can only say that the playtest is promising, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. As a kicker, the developers have said they're not planning on doing microtransactions or anything else inside of the game. I was kind of browsing through the forums before recording this to get sort of a feel for what's going on with the game, and they said that it's just going to be a standalone thing, and that's that. You're not going to be expected to pay for seasons or anything else. It's not being developed as a game as a live service, and so that's kind of interesting. You don't see that much anymore. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, it was Dragonkin. Tomorrow, it'll be something else. Take care, folks, and that's about all I've got for you. Bye.